You were never alone. You were never alone. Just reach into your heart and Allah is always there. You were never alone. You were never alone. Through sorrow and through grief, through happiness and peace, you were never alone.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to a new episode of Family Issues. In this episode, we will be talking about communication within the family. Within the family, there's always love and respect. So many of the problems we have in our families come from miscommunications and misunderstanding, which are mostly the result of having different personality types. In order to have a better way of communications to avoid them and to lead to better family life, we need to know and analyze the different personality types within our families. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, وَقُلْ لِعِبَادِي يَقُولُ الَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ يَنزَغُ بَيْنَهُمْ إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ كَانَ لِلْإِنسَانِ عَدُوًّا مُبِينًا صدق الله العظيم. And say to my slaves, i.e. the true believers of Islamic monotheism, that they should only say those words that are the best, because shaitan, Satan, verily sows a state of conflict and disagreements among them. Surely shaitan, Satan, is to man a plain enemy. We deal in this episode with two types of characters that we do not want to have or even to have in our families, nor in our societies for that matter. These are the violent, aggressive type and the passive, aggressive type. So how to communicate with these types of personalities, how to try and help them improve themselves, whether this person, a spouse or a kid, is in the family, and how to deal with a person with such a characteristic. Again, the violent aggressive or the passive aggressive, because as Muslims we are always asked to improve ourselves, better people. This is what we will be discussing here in the company of Engineer Muhammad Sharaf Deen, family and personal coach and trainer. Assalamu alaikum, Mr. Muhammad. Jazakumullahu khairan. Thank you for continuing with us our series here on family issues, on the different personality types. We'll be looking forward to hear from you the advices, what we should avoid, how we should deal with again the aggressive. I mean, the word aggressive says it all. Whether you're violent or passive, you're still aggressive. But dear brothers and sisters, don't forget that we will also be here not only talking with our distinguished guests, but we'll be waiting for your phone calls. If you have any comments or any questions, at the phone numbers here appearing on the screen. You can also email us at familyissues@huda.tv. Your comments and your suggestions are always useful to us. Mr. Muhammad, the violent aggressive and the passive aggressive. Again, just the word aggressive. Aggressive can never be a positive characteristic, or can it be?
It is never a positive characteristic, and it is actually part of. First, I have to say, Alhamdulillah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Welcome our dear guests. Assalamu alaikum. Actually, talking about this specific issue, when we're talking about negative characters, we are talking actually about the self-discovery more than the other discovery. So we are here talking about getting out this negative character from ourselves, rather than discovering it in others.
Yes.
It is not our job actually to judge people and really seek how to judge others, more than that we have to discover these characters inside ourselves and really fetch them out and clear them off our lists of bad characters and habitudes. So
self-discovery.
It's more of self-discovery rather than judging the other party. And we are not seeking to verify and validate that the other party is a passive aggressor or a negative aggressor or a passive or a violent aggressor. This is not our...
Because if you get in a judging game, I mean, we could go into a vicious cycle with a lot of problems.
Exactly, yes, that's very true. So actually it is your job to really fetch yourself and really evolve yourself and really get this characteristic out of your list. So we are here in a spiritual journey of discovering oneself and discovering each of our individual characters, bad characters, and getting rid of them, and through self-evolving through marriage and through the family relationships.
Right.
So actually about the violent aggressor, this type of character is really a sort of character that we have to really get rid of, because it is described to be one of the characteristics of a hypocrite in Islam. Ayatul Munafiq Thalath, the sign of the hypocrite is three, and one of them is إذا خاصم فجر. One of them is if he gets in a confrontation or gets in a challenge with someone, he gets to violent aggression. So
actually, I believe that's in another hadith where there are four, and إذا خاصم فجر is the fourth, right? إذا حدث كذب وإذا تؤمن خان وإذا
وعد أخلف. So it is
وعاهد غدر.
So it is actually, one of them is إذا خاصم فجر, which is if he gets in a challenge or gets in a conflict with someone, he gets to a violent aggression mode, and actually he gets to attack this person. Whenever there's a conflict, he tries to abuse the other person. He tries to attack from different angles, even not related to the subject itself or the object of discussion.
Or the dispute, yes.
Or the dispute, yes. So actually this kind of character is actually someone that we have to get rid of. Whenever we get in a conflict or a dispute with someone, we really have to really monitor ourselves.
Since you're talking about self-discovery, indeed, and I believe this is where you're starting by, how can we discover that this ugly characteristic is within us, even if it is within a certain degree? So how do we discover it?
Actually, it is very normal that in any dispute that any person goes into, especially when he is attacked to be wrong or criticized or anything, that the acidity level inside this person gets higher. But it is actually our job to monitor our anger levels and our response to this acidity and this negative emotions and negative feelings. So if we find ourselves, whenever we get this acidity and this negative emotions, and we find ourselves responding in aggressiveness and responding in violent aggressiveness, we think of ourselves as if we are personally attacked, and not our opinions or our the subject of dispute that we started in. Actually, we consider this so personal, and we start attacking the other party with no reason. Then we have an issue within ourselves that we have to really fetch and discover and try to resolve by time. And actually, the Prophet ﷺ taught us that إنما الحلم بالتحلم. That means that getting patient and getting really cool, the coolness is coming out of being cool. You have to teach yourself to train yourself to be cool and be positive, and fetch your way and your habitude of responding to anger and responding to the acidity level, the negative emotions, the personal attacks, the abuses from others, how we respond in the disputes that we're having with others. This is where we have to monitor ourselves and really try to discover if we follow the Prophet ﷺ directions of getting more cool and really more reasonable and really responding in calmness.
So we have to train ourselves, teach ourselves, discipline ourselves into becoming cool.
Yeah.
What are the main traits of this characteristic, the violent aggressor?
Whenever you get caught in a discussion and you get criticized for an opinion or for something you did or something, or there is a dispute about maybe something you said, or somebody criticizes you out of he or she wants you to be better. He or she wants to. This is a positive criticism or another. You get it so personal and you start attacking the other
this
party.
Type of personality doesn't accept criticism at all.
Doesn't accept criticism or difference.
Or
difference. They don't tolerate even different opinions. They consider every difference in opinion a sort of a big challenge, a barrier with others, and they have to really attack the other, and really they have to personally defend themselves and defend their opinion, and they take it so personal that they give back the punches back to the other party, and it sometimes comes out with physical abuse. Sometimes it comes out with verbal abuse. Yes, verbal. They can
foul
use
language.
Very obscene language, or they can use sometimes some sort of the body language gets higher and they show anger, and they attack personally the other party with no reason, and even it may be a sort of really a very small difference or something between them, and they take it so personal, and they become so attacking and so aggressive, so violent in their response that you don't understand why this happened. Maybe it was just because the wife asked her husband for something that she wished of, but he thinks that it is not the right time. This can maybe
trigger a bad reaction.
Yes, sometimes it can also be a trigger of a reaction for the wife if she thinks of her husband that he cheated on her with no evidence. Or she thinks that he is embarrassing her in front of her friends or something, out of nothing. She starts offending him personally and attacking him verbally, and attacking him maybe with body language, with her even her eyesight or the looks. The looks sometimes are more offensive than the deeds or the words. So we have to really take care of this these violent reactions, how we respond to our acidity.
So what happens if the couple both have, the husband and wife both have this characteristic, the violent aggressiveness?
So we will have the kids also having this type of characteristic. Actually, the kids will take it off. If they sometimes I meet some of my friends and some of my relatives, and they just surrender to that. This is part of their character. This is part of my character. Whenever somebody talks to me like this, I have to respond like this. Hey, come on.
And you have others saying, I can't help myself. I've tried to let go, but
I doubt.
You believe if there was a will that they would have found a way.
Exactly. Whenever there is a will, there is a way. And actually, our Prophet ﷺ taught us that, and he told us that إنما الحلم بالتحلم.
Right.
Whenever you want to be cool and calm, it is up to you to start working on it.
The exercise.
You have to exercise it. Yes. And it is your job actually to fetch it out of yourself and really try to improve yourself. And this is one of the virtues of marriage, or one of the virtues of the family, that it helps you to really improvise and really improve yourself and self-develop through the relationship.
So it's inevitable that the kids would pick it up? If it's inevitable?
If you're surrendering to it, why do you judge them? You have they will normally take it from you.
So what if one of the two parties has this characteristic, and let's say it's the father first, and then the mother? How would that affect the relationship and the kids in general?
Well, okay. If one of the two spouses, one of the husband or the wife, actually has this character, I believe that it is part of. It's his job to work on himself or herself to improve. If not, if they surrender to it, normally the other party will get abused by this violence. And if me myself, I worked on myself and my wife didn't, for instance, She didn't work on herself in this, and I'm getting violently abused each and every conflict or dispute that we're having. I believe that at this moment of time, I have to let the other party stop this violence. I have to really put a cushion and put something, a buffer between myself and the other party to stop this violence from affecting myself. I have to put a limit to this violence, not to really...
To protect myself.
Yeah, I have to one of my jobs, if I actually had... if I made the decision to continue with this violent aggressor, for instance, I have to put a cushion and put a buffer, not to be hurt. And I have to teach my kids how to put their buffers and how to put their cushions, not to get abused by violent aggressors. They have not to be bullied by others, by other kids. You know, they don't have to be subject of bullying.
We'll get to the kids in a very short while, but again, staying with the husband and wife, if you will, to improve myself, and to train myself, I have to know first of all that I have this bad characteristic. Now, more likely than not, people wouldn't realize that they have anything wrong in themselves. They're just good. I mean, they're just the best. So for them to discover or to notice that they are violent aggressors, they have to be told by the other party. But if they are told by the other party, then this is criticism. And by nature, this type of person, the A type, the first person we're talking about, doesn't accept criticism. So maybe this will
increase the violence. Will increase the violence, and actually, it is part of your self-discipline and your mission towards yourself to improve yourself is to really be sensitive to the signals and the notions from the others, especially when it comes to negative criticism. You have to take it positively to improve yourself. It is an advantage for you. It is something that you have to seek, actually, to improve yourself and really fit yourself better in life, so that you meet Allah and meet God in the end, that you didn't hurt anyone. Actually, God can forgive anything except things between people and each other. God forgives all the sins that that is done for Himself, except for the shirk, except for the things between people and each other. So if you attacked someone, or you are violently aggressing on somebody, and you don't notice that you do it, and this somebody is having a dispute with you that will reflect in your hereafter. So if you don't understand this, and you don't take the signals, and that it is very important that you have to understand that you are abusing this person, and you are having an upper hand on him or her, and you are not really fitting in the relationship, fitting yourself in the relationship, and this person will take from your hasanat and from your good deeds in the hereafter, and the God will be the judge. So it is better for you to really judge yourself. كفى بنفسك اليوم عليك حسيبا. You will, and if you don't really take off your sunglasses of your bad sins and your bad deeds in this world, and you leave it for the hereafter, in the hereafter you will have this clear vision on each and every detail that you just put your sunglasses and exactly.
Jazakallah khairan.
So,
Mr. Muhammad, now the problem is some people are so sensitive to criticism.
Yeah.
Even those who are not violent, even those who are not aggressors.
Yeah.
Many people, I don't know if it's most or not, but so what do we do about this? Because after all, ad-dinu nasiha, in our religion, in our beautiful religion, advice is something big.
Yes.
So how do we walk this thin line?
Well, it is actually your job actually to take the message inside. Even if the envelope you didn't like, you have to take the message inside the envelope. You're talking about the way of the criticism. You have to seek criticism. It is one of your jobs to seek criticism from others. Maybe the envelope you didn't like, you have to take the message and work it out on yourself. And maybe you help the other party. This is one part of you on the other party, to help him improve the envelope. tell him, please, I really took your message. I really improved. I'll improve myself in this. But please improve your way in telling it, because it hurt me this time. I didn't like it. Maybe the next time he will give you the message with a better envelope. So this way you both are actually developing. You both are self-improving. You both are helping each other. You both are like المؤمن كالبنيان يشد بعضه بعضا. You both are like a building, taking each other. The believer for a believer is like a building. They're just pulling making
each other stronger,
enforcing
each other to higher levels.
Yeah.
But again, and many people would accept advice from people they don't know or they don't live with, but it's so, again, sometimes it's more sensitive when it comes from those you love or those in your entourage, those in your family. And any explanation for this, and what do we do about it?
Well, it's sorry, I'm not to say, but it will come out of Kibri. And actually, the family has to be the first eyes on each other. That means their family, their brothers, sisters, their a husband and wife. They are one piece of flesh and blood. They're so joined together. They are the building block of the community. If the family is not reflective to each other, and if inside one family the person couldn't take feedback or couldn't take criticism in a positive way and couldn't help the others to really enforce each other by positive criticism, then there is an issue with this family. This family is the least building block of the community. If it is not fit, the whole community will fall.
On that note, allows Mr. Muhammad, dear brothers and sisters, to take a short break here on family issues. We'll be back shortly, inshallah, to continue our discussion about family communication. Do stay with us. Assalamu alaikum.
Never alone, you are never alone.
Europe's forgotten heritage.
This is a sad reminder of the past history of the Muslims in the city. Nowadays, there are no Muslims anymore. These are the mosques that have remained. And it is really sad. Wait a second, this is Morocco. No, this is Tunisia, Algeria, North Africa, Egypt. No, this is all Europe, and this is all part of Spain. Islam spread first in Africa, and then from Africa, it came over to Europe, and then it did developing work in Europe. Now, we look the other way around nowadays. The compass was invented by the Muslims. Many important inventions came from the time of the Muslims on the Iberian Peninsula. Instead of people becoming less in battles, as we normally know, as we know in battles obviously people die, but no, what was happening? The Spaniards recognized and realized the superiority of the Muslims and the treatment that the Muslims gave to the Christians and the Jews in Spain at that time, that they happily accepted Islam, many of them. An Ottoman fountain, as we've seen it before in other places in Greece. Now, it has some Arabic on top, as well as it had some Arabic down where the tap used to be, or where the water was coming out.
Pack your bags, grab your passports, and join Dr. Steph Keris as he takes us through Europe and rediscovers Europe's forgotten heritage, only on Hoda TV. Tech Talk.
We're going to look how to create a website and which Islamic websites to actually visit. What inspired you to create your own website?
One of the challenges that we face every day, the site or the application should be accessible worldwide. I remember when I was younger, one of my friends asked me to convince his father to get him a desktop, even the laptop. If you compared both of them in terms of cost, laptop roughly cost twice the money if you compared it with a desktop.
Hackers, the word hackers, most of the youth people are very interested about that word. They say, hey, I'd like to be a hacker, because there is a type of hacker doing great job. We call them white hat hacker.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. Still waiting for your phone calls on our numbers here appearing on the screen. And also your emails, please do not forget to send them at familyissues@huda.tv, dear brothers and sisters. Back with Mr. Muhammad Sharafuddin, family and personal coach and trainer. Mr. Muhammad, we talked in the first segment here about the violent aggressor. We now want to talk about the passive aggressor, and we want to focus more, if we can, on the kids here.
The kids for the violent aggressor, or for
no,
the
no.
aggressor?
I mean, how to prevent that from reaching these bad characteristics from reaching our
both
kids.
Both are different. So let's start with the kids and the violent aggressor.
Yes.
Actually, the violent aggressor and the kids start out with the bully kids. And actually, the kid who bullies the other kids, and we have to really teach our kids how to not be bullies, how to teach each other well, how to respect each other, and really focus on identifying in our kids when they bully on others kids, when
Yes.
they do any act of violence on others, like abuse, pulling out their toys by force, bullying them by actually giving them some verbal abuse or some bad looks or something like this. Actually, these are all bullying characteristics that if we identify them as parents, and we have to monitor our kids doing this, we have to teach them how to do it, how to not to do it, actually, how to really respect each other.
The problem with so many kids is, of course, you know much more than I.
Yeah.
And of course, most of our viewers,
Yeah.
dear brothers and sisters, that when you tell them, go right, they go left. If you tell them go up, they go down. So stop this, they keep doing it. If you tell them do that, they will.
So let them get the same bullying from other kids. Let them be treated the way they treat the other kids from maybe a higher force or something.
To taste
the taste of bullying on themselves, and tell them that this is the same taste that you're doing to the other kids. This is one thing.
So as much as this could hurt, but that's a cure, or that's one way of curing this.
Sure, yes, yes. And actually being among positive kids and engaging in activities, letting them how to treat each other well, how to group in teamwork. Whenever they have conflicts with each other, they don't take it personal. They have to just resolve this dispute with the minimum characteristics. And also, on the other hand, they have not to be subject of bullying. They have not to be subject of the other violent aggressors. By having the proper force of responding back and putting the red lines on self-respect. They have to really show self-respect and discipline, and they have to really have the force to respond back. And they have to really note that if somebody bullied you, you have to respond equally, and you have to take your right. And it's something that you have to really teach your kid. You don't start bullying any kid, but you have the right to respond to any bullying and put the red lines by actually your internal power and your reason. And actually, this is very important.
How do we protect them? Protect them from their parents if they are violent aggressors. You said if one of the two is not, then there's that cushion you talked about. That and the other party should be using to protect him or herself and the kids.
Yes.
But what if the two are?
If the two are, then we are getting a series of bully kids, and actually it is the society. And if there is a good governor for the society, and there is a good social leadership in the society, and there is some sort of a governmental aid and support for such issues, for any violent, if we have two parents who are violent aggressors, the government should actually take their kids off them, and they have to be actually treated and taken care of away from these two violent aggressors, because we will have more violent kids, we will have more bully kids, we will have actually.
It depends, of course, on which type of violence we're talking about here.
I'm talking about violent abusive parents who physical abuse. When we're talking about the physical abuse, and mostly also when you're talking about obscene language, when it comes to the level of obscene language, or you're talking about physical abuse, then we're talking about that we have to protect the kids from this, if the two parents are so. But if we have one of the parents who's taking care of himself or herself and protecting himself and the kids from one of the other party, and he or she takes the decision of continuing under this aggressor. Maybe he is praying for Allah to take care of him, and maybe take him to the right path. So this is okay. One of the parents is okay to support the kids and protect them.
Let's move to the passive aggressor.
So let's know what is the passive aggressor.
Yes.
How can he be an aggressor and passive? This is actually the kind of character who doesn't have who isn't actually with you in what you want to do. He is not heartedly from inside believing in what you want to do, or what you are doing, or not believing in your targets, not believing in your methods, not believing in what you do, but he is just there letting you believe that he is supporting you. And whenever you start doing the thing, or actually taking progress in your path with him or her, you are finding that he or she is turning on the other way around and walking in a different agenda. So he says to you,
so
yes.
those persons, maybe they don't have the tools to be violent. Is that why? Is that why they are passive?
They are backstabbers, actually. This is kind of backstabbing, that because you do a plan and you set the path and you start and you feel in agreement with the other party, and the other party shows to you that he or she is part of your vision and your mission, and he will walk the walk with you, and will. And he shows you a sort of belief, and he's supporting you, he's in your back, and he's so and so and so. And whenever you start moving ahead and you believe that he's a resource supporting you, and he is there with you, and you try to fetch him back, you don't find him, and even you find him on another path, and maybe he's backstabbing you on your
so
steps
why is
forward.
Is that done intentionally, or is it because the party, the passive-aggressive party, was forced into accepting the proposal, or the vision, or the agreement, or the plan? We want to analyze this more, please.
Well, there are some people who really don't take opinions in life, and they don't take sharp edges. They don't show their positions. They take actually the neutral positions, and actually most of our community standards that these days, and maybe the globalization makes people the best for you is to be neutral in front of others, and this is.
I never understood that, by the way.
Yeah, being neutral, huh?
Yeah, I never understood it. I'm not neutral in anything, by the way. So I never understood it. But anyway,
there is no such neutral, because actually being neutral is actually giving an edge to those who have agendas and have visions. You are a tool in the end. So actually this kind of person who doesn't take sharp edges in his or her life, he doesn't tell out his opinion so loudly, he doesn't reflect what is inside him or her clearly. He really sells out the other party. He says in the beginning, he lets the other party believe that it's a yes, and in the end he acts as a no.
Yes, but why? You said because of the neutral thing and the globalization, and that's one reason.
It is one cultural aspect. We are treated to not take positions. We are not
females in the Muslim world and the Middle East specifically are raised like this, like they're raised not to have a sharp edged opinion.
That is really that is one issue in our feminine world, in the Muslim world. Actually, we don't really give our women or our future women, our girls, we don't really help them to take stance.
Although that's un-Islamic. I mean, Islam doesn't say this.
Exactly. Yes.
So tradition here is walking in a different path than Islam, and is claiming that it is under the umbrella of Islamic traditions or beliefs.
Exactly.
Or directions.
That is very true. So actually,
we find this in females more than males.
We find it in females, and actually find it also in males. And whenever the female or the wife wants to take a course, for instance, she wants to develop herself, or she wants to do something for the community, and she needs something like 2 hours per week that the father takes care of his children for these 2 hours only.
Right.
And he agrees from the beginning on this, and he should be free each and every week on this time to take care of the kids. But whenever she starts, she doesn't find him. Why he's hanging out there with his friends, he's having other priorities. Hey, you had an agreement with her, and she did a commitment, and she has to do it.
And we're going back again to the areas of hypocrisy or nifaq, إذا وعد أخلف.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you give a promise, you have to stick with it.
Exactly.
Regardless.
Exactly.
And this is what our religion teaches us.
Exactly. So it is always that you say yes in the beginning, and then the buts comes out after. And when you say but.
So it's more right to say no from the beginning if you know you can't.
Exactly.
Or if you know that it's going to be very difficult.
Yes.
Or you can say, well, I'm going to look into it, but once you give a final answer,
exactly,
you have to abide by commit.
It's a promise, and it has to be followed. It has to be very clear, and you have to be supporting the other party what he or she does, because you are a family and you are one. You are all together, and you have to commit till the end. And actually, coming to the kids and how we appraise our kids for this, actually the kids have to understand that whenever they give a promise, whatever this promise was, even if it was just to play a game till the end with their neighbors, it is down to this simple terms.
Because usually with kids that it's okay. One last game. The word "one last game," it gets repeated like 3 or 4 times again. So this is, believe me, truly, well, this is the last game.
Yeah.
Oh, believe it, this is the last game. But it keeps going. Usually, for 2 or 3 more games.
Yeah, but I'm talking about when the kids are having, they started the game with their friends, and in the middle of the game, because they didn't like something,
you're talking about quitting in the middle.
Quitting in the middle, yes.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, we have to monitor our kids not to quit in the middle. Hey, you started this game, finish it to the end, and man up. Come on.
Right.
And this is the bold face that you have to give.
What about trying to teach them? But when you say that this is the last game you're going to play before you sleep, you have to stick with it. This is very hard. It's difficult to discipline kids on this. But please advise us on this.
Well, it's when they're actually when we have a term of something like they're having 1 hour to play or something. And they finish this hour, they have to pull off.
They always look for 10 extra minutes.
No,
you know this.
There is no.
There
is no other extra 10 minutes, because actually this is an agreement. When you have
and you'll find one of the 2 parents saying, "Okay, we'll give it. Okay, let's give them the 10 minutes."
Well, let them respect their commitment and honor their commitment. Actually, there is another thing also when they choose a sport. Actually, kids, parents select for their kids for the age of 4 till 7 or 8 years old. You select for your kid what they play, and actually you have to commit yourself on delivering them to these trainings or these actually sports or this something. But after they start selecting, this comes in the age of 7 to 8 years old. They start loving one sport and hating another. Whenever they commit,
them the freedom and make them committed.
Exactly, make them commit, because I find some parents, hey, I didn't like the soccer game, and I don't want to really train soccer. I want to go to karate training. So okay, I'll take you to karate. After 1 month, hey, I didn't like the karate. I want to go to kung fu. Come on, you said it's karate. It will continue karate. It's full stop till the next year. It's 1 year commitment. You will finish the full season. Nothing. We will not change this quick.
And that's teaching them to stay committed. Teaching the kids to stay committed.
Yes, it is the same for school also. For school, they actually taking them each and every morning. If they want to stay lazy at home, don't quit. Unless you are sick. Unless there is sickness or something. But quitting from school just because they don't want to get off bed or something, this is nothing. This is teaching them to be passive aggressors, because they can quit anytime, whenever they like. And they say this is freedom. No, there's no such freedom when you come to commitments, and you have to.
In fact, if we look into, for instance, a rich world with moral values like sports, for instance, you see a lot of heroes in the end didn't necessarily win, but they were in a marathon, for instance, and they fell, and but in the end they finished the race. They finished the race regardless of whether they finished 10th or 100th. It's that they finished the mission. So that's the main point here, is just do it, do your best. But if you're on a mission, complete it till the end. But that teaches you, that makes for a success story, or at least you're teaching your children here to build success stories.
Yes.
Because quitting is the worst thing, right?
Exactly.
The worst thing that can happen. And you're linking passive aggressors to quitters here.
Yes.
So this is how some of us would know that we do have this characteristic, again, to a certain degree, right? Because all of us will have a 5%, 10%.
You may be sometimes a quitter in some cases,
Right.
but actually being, you have to really monitor yourself and your self-discipline. Are you quitting on your family? Are you quitting on your commitments? Are you quitting on your partner? Are you quitting on your kids? Are you really not there when they need you? Are you did you give them promises you didn't deliver? Monitor your promises, your commitments, your.
Because you're a role model here. I mean, if breaking promises by parents is also one of the worst things that can happen, right?
Yes. It teaches the kids actually to have no rules. Actually, they will not keep their promises or their commitments. They will not keep their contracts and following this. So actually, that is what we are seeking for. We are seeking to improve ourselves through monitoring this characteristic in ourselves and monitor how frequently we quit from our jobs or actually from our commitments and our family.
So how do we get rid of this terrible characteristic? Okay, we'll exercise, we'll train ourselves, what more? I mean, we want tips to get rid of.
Whatever you give as a promise, right, and put it on checklist, and don't get it off your checklist unless it is done. Whenever there is a commitment, a weekly commitment or something, free yourself this each and every week in this time, and monitor yourself how much times you delivered versus how many times you failed to deliver. Whenever you get a good percentage, 80% or more, or 70% or more times delivery, then you're sort of good and you have to improve. But if you are not delivering at all or less than 70% delivery, that means less than 2 times out of 3, that means that you are a quitter. You quitted on your commitments or on your weekly commitments and this stuff. So you have to really force yourself on the commitments that you gave. Write down your promises, write down your schedules. Always keep with you a notebook or something that you put on it all the weekly promises that you deliver and a to-do list of what you commit to your families as well as the others. Treat your family the least as you treat your friends, as you treat your community commitments, as you treat your work commitments. You have to give them the full respect and give them the privilege of taking commitments from you and delivering these commitments.
Right.
So people,
but so that we don't scare our dear brothers and sisters who are watching us who quit in that. Mr. Muhammad, isn't it true that most of us, even the most successful of persons, and the happiest of persons, and at a certain stage in their life and during several things they did, they must have had their share of quitting here, there, or there. But probably they had a strong will to to wake up quickly after they quit and say, no, I shouldn't be quitting. But they must have had their moments when they either quit for a minute or for a day or for a week or for a month or for a year. Isn't that true?
Well, let's see this with even with Allah, and He is subhanallah. Even with Allah, if you have the commitment of prayers, even with Allah, we as slaves, we sometimes have our thermometer of getting higher in our commitments to Allah, towards Allah, talking about the prayers on time and in the mosque and saying adhkar and actually reading our word of Quran and really reading more books and attending lectures of with scholars and this stuff. Actually, this comes up and down. And even Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they told the Prophet ﷺ that whenever they're with him, they feel as if they're in heaven. They're actually their momentum and their beliefs and their spirituality is so high that they believe that they're within heaven. But whenever they leave him, whenever they leave him, they feel as if and whenever they sit with their kids and their wives, and they feel totally in the ground, really on a different spiritual level. So it's even with your commitments, your iman commitments and your beliefs commitments, they come up and down. So your commitment with the people, so it is normal to have a variable scale throughout your life, but it is better to monitor, to put a standard and to monitor yourself, not to get less than something. إن لكل عمل شرة ولكل عمل شرة ولكل فترة ولكل sorry I don't recall this hadith, but
and we have to end it anyway. So we have to keep it up. We have to improve. We have to keep improving ourselves and not be scared of the dips that we have, because it's only normal. Thank you very much, Engineer Muhammad Sharafuddin. Jazakumullahu khairan. It's been interesting as always. Looking forward to seeing you soon, inshallah. Thank you, dear brothers and sisters, for watching us. Our date is next week, same time, inshallah. Till we meet again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alone, you are never alone. Through sorrow and through grief, through happiness and peace, you are never alone. So now, as you long for your past, prepare for your future, but knowing nothing's gonna last. You see, this life is but a road, a straight and narrow path to our final abode. So travel well, O Muslim, and paradise will be your home. And always remember that you are never alone.